Hello and good evening. I hope you can read me. Please say something in the chat if you can hear the microphone. Hello everyone. I thought I'd start with a little 10-minute countdown so that people could arrive. Hello to New York. Loud and clear, that is good to hear. Fine. Thank you. That's good. Yeah, if there are any issues with the volume of the microphone or the music, just let me know. But it seems to be fine. Yeah, Neptune is also there, but he's on the other side right now. Maybe I can lure him to the opposite side of the table. Yes, it works. Yeah, the idea today is to create new music and take you on the way and talk a little bit about what I'm doing. I also plan to create the sounds and not use preset sounds. And talk a little bit about what my ideas are when I make music. It's already too many people to say hello to everyone. I don't want to be rude and just say hello to a few people, so I will just say hello to everyone again. Nice to have you here today. Also, the reason for me doing this today is because I got a new second camera, so I now have two of my Blackmagic cameras in the setup. So that is the old camera that you know from the last year or so, and I practically got the same one on the desk. So it's very easy for me to switch between the cameras. And yeah, then I also reworked on the microphone setup so that it's easier for me to do live streams like this. So maybe if you're interested, we can do this in the future again. Yeah, like I mentioned before, I am going to start with an empty project in Bitwig and design a few sounds and see where it goes. I've not really prepared something for today. I have a few ideas for the first sound, but after that it will be completely spontaneous. So, oh yeah, SJK writes, lieber Ambient Tracks als Karneval. We have Carnival right now. It's very stupid. I think also in the United States you have some sports event tonight, like baseball or something. I'm not sure. So maybe all the guys from the United States are watching that instead of Ambient right now. Will Neptune speak? I'm not sure. He was purring very loud recently. I did an online lesson and then he was right at the microphone and doing some very loud noises. Super Bowl, yes. Super Bowl. Okay, what kind of sports is it? Please tell me so that I learn something. Football. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think, yeah, why not? Why not? If people have fun watching it, it's... I think nobody gets hurt there, so it's fine. Will you use virtual synths? Asks Charlie Brown. Yeah, I plan to use software instruments mostly, because then you can see on the screen what I'm doing. It's not much interesting for you if I'm like sitting somewhere in the corner and fiddling around with the knobs. So I think it's better to have it on the screen with the virtual instruments. I plan to use Zebra today. Start with Zebra. I was really going into Zebra recently in the last days. Also probably Pigments, because I was also doing a lot of sounds with pigments recently, and I think it might be interesting to see what I do here. Yeah, I think I mean, it's very nice for you to say that you're more interested in my ambient music than into Super Bowl, but I think on the overall like scale, I will lose. I think there are like 100 million people watching Super Bowl tonight, yeah. I'm not sure if we will have something like this here. It says 137, which is something. Very good. The sequential take 5. Pigments 5, yeah. What? Let me check. I really hope that you can read the chat as well after the video is saved. I will probably make a cut when the actual production starts, so what you're seeing right now is will be cut later. Yeah, the sequential take 5. I mean, I have quite a few sequential synthesizers already. I mean, I have the Prophet 10 over here, and I also have the OB6, which usually is here, but not right now. Then the Pro 2, also not here right now. So I don't think that I will get the Take 5 as well. I mean, maybe the Pro 3, that could be interesting. Yeah. Status is programming custom drum machine presets. That sounds like fun. You should sell them. I would buy them. I don't like to program drum sounds and samples, so I would be happy to have something good here. Super Bowl will not start for 4 hours 30 minutes. Yeah, that's good. Okay, then we are fine. So this is the official Wuppertal Elberfeld Ambient pre-Super Bowl show. Repro Diva Hive. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Repro is absolute ace. Also Diva. I don't have Hive, to be honest, but Repro and Diva are two of my favorite synthesizers, absolutely. Softtube also, yes. I've noticed you use Softtube's products. Are they good? Yes, they are. Absolutely. Yes. Period. Short answer. I love how you work around the cat. Yeah, that's something I need to do, because Neptune is really obsessed recently to walk around here. Usually he is over there or somewhere at the living room, which is here behind the camera. But recently he is obsessed with running around here. I don't know why. Sure, Neptune. Sandy Trunk says, it's very nice to interact with you and Neptune live again. Thank you for streaming today. Yes, you're welcome. Absolutely my pleasure. Neptune, you really need to go somewhere. I need access to my mouse and keyboard. quite soon. Yeah, the countdown is down and the music's also. That was, by the way, a track called Space Is Not Empty from my album called Space Is Not Empty. The MIDI Fighter Twister, I control Bitwig with it. You will see it in a minute, how I do that. Okay, so I will now switch to a different viewing angle and share the screen and work a little bit. And after a while, I will go back to the chat. So I will not read the chat for the next like 10 or 15 minutes. So if you have any questions, it would be a good idea to wait until I go back to the chat, and then I can try to get to your questions. This is my empty Bitwig project. There is nothing loaded. I don't work with templates or such things. I just start with an empty arrangement. The only thing I have here is a little limiter and compressor on the master bus, but I do this only because I'm streaming live on YouTube to have a certain balanced level. But when I create music on my own, I usually don't have such things on the master bus. I want to go for a pad sound, and for this I use Zebra by Yuhi. It is an absolute fantastic synthesizer. It's not the easiest one to use, I think, because it doesn't really mimic one of the old iconic synthesizers with just a few knobs. Instead, you have almost endless possibilities, and you can combine and route all kinds of different modules to create your sounds, and that is very interesting. Of course, the first thing I do is I start with an init patch. By the way, this is Zebra HZ, which stands for Hans Zimmer. He asked Urs Heckmann to program some little extra stuff into Zebra so he could score The Dark Knight, which is, I think, very, very funny story. And I will also use some of these extra features, so this is why I'm going for Zebra here. Like I said, I create an init patch, which should sound... this is quite a good start. I don't hear anything. Fantastic. Maybe I need to restart my little keyboard I have here. Yeah, that is good. So the init patch is just a boring sawtooth. And you see that there is, in this routing matrix, there's nothing except for oscillator 1. So I'm going to click on this oscillator 1 button here, and you see that there is a sawtooth. And it is possible to technically draw any kind of overtones or waveforms. So I could go into this mode and draw something like this, which resembles a square, and then it sounds like a square. Or I could also try to draw a sawtooth, and then I have something like a sawtooth. Or I could go to this mode, clear everything, and just draw something here, which is just a fundamental. So I have a sine wave, and now I can draw in some overtones. It's fascinating. You can literally create any kind of waveform or overtone spectrum with that synthesizer. I really love it. So I go to the oscillator preset list and load something which is called a sine tree. This is basically a wavetable. You can see it here. Or we could also change. No, we can't. Can we? No. Oh, that's wrong. Yeah, that is my sine wave table. And by moving this waveform knob, I can move through this. And what I want to do is I want to automate this. So I go here and select something. I could select an LFO. LFO1 is already here. And then the LFO would move me through this kind of waveform. But I want to do it in a different way. So I click on LFO1 again, and I use something that is called modulation map. We have 4 modulation maps, and when I click here and enable that, you will see that on the right side, this modulation map 1 appears. It's always so that there's the modulators are on the right side and the sound generators and filters are on the left side. Now, if I continue to play sounds, you see that with each note, this map advances by 1. It's incremental by 1, but I want to go have it like going on automatically. So first I reduce the steps to 4, open the editor, and if you hit Command, you can go to 0, and then I draw something like this. So now with each note, it would go like this. And if I apply this to the waveform, you see what happens. See, it changes the sound with every time I press a key. I want to do this, have this going automatically. So as a mod source, as a mode, I go to Map Quantize. If you go on Map Smooth, it would interpolate between the steps, but I want to hear the steps, so I go on Map Quantize. And as mod source, I pick LFO1. And now you see that LFO1 moves this back and forth. If I increase the rate, it goes faster, and if I decrease the rate, it goes slower. I want to go from the sine to a saw up, because I only want to have this going in one direction. And then, let me play something. This is quite a bit fast. I put the sync to half notes. And since this is a polyphonic LFO, if I press more notes on the keyboard, they all move in a different position. I like this quite a lot. Also, let's do this later. So this is maybe my starting point for that pad sound. Of course, for a good pad sound, I need slower envelopes. So the envelope 1 is already routed to the amp. So I will select this for whatever this means. It's making everything slower. And I go for a long attack and also a long release to have more of a pad going on here. Also, I want to have the stereo field a bit get moving. So this is the panorama thing. And I take another modulation map 2. And I can leave this at this, because I just want to have like a random thing going on. No, I do something else. Let me do something else here. I go for a global LFO instead. Sorry. Global LFO means LFO G1, not LFO1, but G1. Global LFO means that it's one LFO for all the voices. With the other LFOs, if I play different notes, I have an independent LFO per voice. But here, I'm doing it in a way that one LFO changes all the notes. And I go to random hold, and hear what happens. I hope you can hear it. If you have headphones or something, you should notice that the sound is now moving in the stereo field. Because I'm using a fourth note, it's still in kind of sync with whatever beat I'm maybe going to have. Let's apply a filter. Usually, when you load a filter into that kind of list, then the filter will appear here on the left, and you can tweak it like you want. In this case, I just leave the filter fully open so that technically the sound should not be affected at all. And now I go to the second row and load a filter called D, VCF1. D stands for Diva. Diva is Yuhi Diva, it's another synthesizer. And you notice that nothing pops on the left side. This is because these filters, which are only part of the Zebra, Dark Zebra, Hans Zimmer Zebra version, they are located down here. So you need to go to this one, and then you find this filter. We also need to get the audio signal from the first row over to the other row, okay? So what we need to do, I think there may be a smarter way to do it, but I don't know how. I'm sorry. But I load a module called Mix, and then it goes, you see that little line here, it catches the signal from over here. So I increase Mix to maximum, and for the time I also mute channel 1. And now I have this Diva filter here. And let me quickly show you, if we are in Diva, you see that we have different filter modes here. We have the ladder filter, which is a Moog filter. We have this filter, which is, I think, modeled after the Roland Jupiter 8. We have a multi-mode filter, we have the MS-20 filter, and we have the Oberheim filter. And these filter modules are all part of Zebra in here. Cool, right? So I can select any of these modes, and they will all have all the settings that you need. And you have 4 of them. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, like one sound. Not just one filter, but 4. It's completely bonkers. So I take this one and I put it to bandpass mode, and I increase the resonance to a very high amount where I start to have some self-oscillation. It sounds quite shit for the next 5 minutes, but stay with me. It's going to be a cool sound in the end. Very high resonance, self-oscillating thing, and of course the cutoff can be modulated, and to do this I need to pick these 2, and I will select another global LFO and put it to the random mode, and yeah, maybe leave it at a quarter note, and then yeah, this is nice. You hear some clicking. Yeah, it's really generating interesting tones. You need to play with the frequency a little bit to find the right spot. And then I blend in the signal from row 1, where I have the unfiltered signal. I think for the Zebra part, we can leave it for a second, but now we need to work on effects. That is usually what I do when I create sounds. I first work with the synthesizer and then add my effects. And this is very, very boring because I usually use all the same effects all the time. This sound should start with some dynamic tweaking. Why is that? With this high resonance filter sweep sound, we will have maybe problems with having a good clean signal. So I'm running it into a compressor first. I think this is good. And then I will have a look at an equalizer and see what's going on here. That's always useful to know what your sound is actually doing. And I see that I have a lot of movement somewhere between 100 and 1,500 hertz. And to be on the safe side, because we will add some lower end sounds, I will cut away the low frequency sound with this what is it? Low cut filter somewhere around here. I just decided that today's track will be an F minor, so I'm going to play F and see that my lowest note is still within the frequency range. Now let's add some reverb. I'm going for supermassive, and I have made some presets that I like to use for my music. And this one is, I think it's some edited patch from the kind of factory library. You also can see that I have mapped this to my MIDI fighter controller. The cable is too short. So you see that, how is that going to work? So I can change the parameters here on this controller. I really like this. It's a script called MIDI Fighter Twister that I use for the MIDI fighter. It replaced my other controller that I used before. So let's see how this sounds with a lot of reverb. Also, I killed the patch somehow. Let's go back here. Yeah, this is nice. So now I will record a few bars. I'm going for a 16-bar loop, and I will try to record short phrases, so to say, short phrases, and then have some silence in between, and then another one. Let me just show you what I mean. Also maybe, yeah, I have this quantized. I'm having some distortion here. I need to address in a second. Yeah, that was the first sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start off here. Yeah. In case you wonder what notes did I pick, the idea is to have the root note F, of course, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and 7th note. So it's basically just all the notes from the F minor scale that I'm playing. And there's some distortion going on here. I need maybe to just lower the output volume here of the zebra sound. Okay, so that was the first kind of sound. So maybe now would be a time for you to ask a few questions. And also, hello everyone. I see that we already have over 200 people here. That is absolutely crazy. Thank you for tuning in tonight. So in case you're just here by accident, my name is Martin and I'm creating ambient music. And let me see what you put here. I will probably not have a time to go through all the questions, so if you would like to ask again now, it would be very nice, so I can see it right there. Yeah, people saying hello. So if you have no questions, I can continue with the next sound. Okay. Pavel wants to know, okay, when are you going to release your new album? I can say that. I don't know, because I ordered a CD from the pressing plant and they promised to send it in somewhere in February. So whenever it arrives, I will immediately release it. So new music, new album also on CD is coming very soon. Daniel wants to know, do you find it easier to create in Bitwig versus Ableton? Well, I don't want to jump on that Bitwig versus Ableton discussion here. I personally quit Ableton, also sold my push controller, and I use Bitwig now. So easier. I find some things very nice in Bitwig. I like a lot of features in Bitwig, mostly the way how you can do these controller mappings. I mean, I have these. If I would create a new instrument and let's say load Repro 5, for instance, you see that I have my controllers mapped here. And I made presets for all my synthesizers, and so I can quickly change everything that I usually change in the synthesizer. That makes it very easy for me to work with Bitwig. And the way this is being done in Bitwig is, I think, a bit more clever than in Ableton. So yeah, I like this. Where is the chat window? Where do you get your inspiration for your tracks from, especially for Felios? Well, that is a good question. I can't really tell. I mean, I listen to other music, of course, but I think about music all the day, and so I try to find inspiration in whatever I do. Sounds a bit stupid, right? Sorry for that. Pigments and Hive. Well, I only have Pigments, so I cannot tell something about Hive. What is the best approach to not make Space Ambient sound repetitive? Well, that is something I try to show in this video. Using a lot of modulation, but not overdo it. It's kind of a delicate thing to either have to have modulation on the one side and change stuff, but on the other side don't be too repetitive. I mean, if you take a look at this here, it's basically the same 5 notes all the time, but by having different variations of these 5 notes, I hope that it's not boring. So that maybe helps. Twist Assistor for the MIDI fighter. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Statosur also inspired me to make music. Glad that we are both an inspiration to you. Thank you. Okay. Let me quickly go back to the arrangement. I will go back to the questions later. After I started with the sound, this is a pad sound with a rather high frequency. Now I want to have a nice bass sound. And I just decided that I use, maybe let's go to Pigments to go have a little variation. Pigments take some time to load. And also I edited, there's like a little text file on the hard drive, which makes it possible to have Pigments load into the init patch. I hate it when synthesizers don't load into init patches, so I needed to do that. This is Pigments, another synthesizer. I think you're probably familiar with it. It's also offering a huge variety of synthesis features and filter models and modulations and what God knows. And what I want to do is I want to use the frequency modulation thing. So I keep it here with the sine wave form, which is the basic wavetable here. You could, of course, browse through the wavetable and do funky stuff, but I just leave it here at the sine wave. And if you increase this frequency modulation function here, you get some nice nice frequency stuff going on. And what I like to do is take an envelope, like envelope 2, and route it to the FM amount, so that this goes up and down like this. Of course, we need to find the right speed, that it sounds nice. Maybe change the curve. Yeah, I think this is good for a start. Also, I make the play mode to legato, so that I have only one note at the same time. Ah yeah, and also when it's legato, it doesn't trigger the envelope again. If I had it on mono, it would re-trigger this on every note, but I want to have it like this. Yeah, also smooth out some edges here with the amp. This sounds good. So So the idea here is to have a little melody with 3 notes and then repeat the same melody and expand it with a 4th note. Also taking care of this 4-bar thing that I started with the pet sound. I will just increase the frequency amount a little bit so that you can hear this better. Just so that you understand the notes. But I'm going back to this. Yeah, it's also possible to make it slower. Yeah, this is nice. Let's check if we are good on the quantization side of things. Yeah, it looks good. Also, for the bass sound, I will apply a gentle reverb, not too much. I go for the vintage verb here, and I made a preset. I will leave it open so that you can copy the settings, which I call standard. It's my let's start a reverb patch. And from here you see that I have it at 0, and I just slowly go in with the reverb. I always start at 0, mix with the effects, and from there dial it in. Not too much, because then it will kill the clarity of that sound, but I think it's nice to have some space for that sound. Also, if we are on the mixing page, it's worth having a look at the levels. So I see that the bass is a bit louder than the pad sound because of, you know, Spotify and laptop speakers and stuff like that. Let's check quickly for the master stuff. Again, this is only for YouTube, you know. Usually if I produce music, I don't do any master stuff. I just leave tons of headroom and then have Don Tyler fix everything in the mastering. Also, I need some tea. Yeah, any questions about this bass sound? Yeah, again, questions about the DAW. This is Bitwig 5. Is it Bitwig 5? 6? Where are they with the version stuff? Ah, it's 5. Yeah, 512. Yeah. What kind of tea? A very important question. That's black tea from Nepal. CRT asks, so the bass is Pigments. Yes, that is right. We have two sounds right now. The Space sound, which is Pigments. I just created it with a basic sine wave going into a frequency modulation. And the first sound is Zebra, a patch which utilizes a wavetable and some modulated bandpass filter. Yeah, exactly. Stefan just asked the same thing. Yeah. Charlie asks, do you think you can do the same with polymer in Bitwig? I don't know. I never used the internal synthesizers of Pigments so far. I think if it is able to do FM, it probably is possible. Also, very important thing, you can practically do any kind of sounds with any synthesizer if it's not just super limited like a Minimoog emulation or so. More important, rather than having a synthesizer and then 10 more synthesizers, is knowing your synthesizer extremely well. I recently did a few whole tracks completely with Pigments, just to different sounds in Pigments. Why not? I could also do a whole track just with Zebra sounds. If the synthesizer is giving you a lot of flexibility in terms of sound design and synthesis methods, why not? Stefan wants to know, how loud is the bass in the mix usually? Well, that is something that is not so... You can't just throw a number here. What you can do is take something like this. It's an equalizer with a graphic user interface. And what I do is I look how loud the sounds are. So if I have this pad sound here, I see that it's hitting -3 dB right now. And it could be -6 or whatever. I like to have some headroom. So maybe like this. So now when I put in the bass sound, I will see that it's a bit louder because I find this element more important in my music, in this track. Yeah. So I will compare these to each other. Okay. Yeah, I never played Mass Effect, I must confess. I'm a Resident Evil and Dead Space guy, but I never played Mass Effect. Okay, let's go to the next sound. And of course I want to have a little sequencer sound going on. And for this purpose I am using, let's use Pigments again. It has a very nice user interface and you can probably follow what I'm doing here. My default patch, if you don't have this on by default, oh gosh, they changed the browser again. This is version 5. I hate updates. There's nothing I hate so much than updates. So I think you need to go, I mean, you can search for it. There should be a patch called default, and then you can load this, and then you have this nice template sound. What I do to make a nice sequence going on. Maybe first let me... Yeah, I have my keyboard here to my left. I hope you can see it here. And I can play some notes here. And I want to use the sine wave as my basic building block. No fancy wavetable stuff going on, no interesting waveforms. I start with the sine wave. And then there are a few interesting things you can do to change the sound of the sine wave. First thing I already showed you was the frequency modulation. That sounds nice. Also, the wave folder is very nice. I really love wave folding. Actually, the whole reason for me using this modular system here is to have this wave fold mode in the blades oscillator. I have 2 of them and 1 braids, which has also this wave folder going on. So I really love that. Yeah, so that makes interesting changes to the timbre of the sound. And how cool would it be if that would happen all the time automatically? To achieve this, I go to this random tab, and you see that you have 3 random random generators here. And they can all be set up in the same way, but the second one is already doing what I want. So each time I press a key on my keyboard, I get a new value, and that value stays until I have a new note triggered. And I take this one, this random 2, and assign it to the amount of the frequency modulation. So with each note, I get a different value here. Then I change the random generator 3 to the same stuff that's going on here on the other side. And what's that doing? Ah, okay. And I assign this to the wavefold amount. So you get interesting new sounds with each note that I play. Of course, that would be the point where I add my standard effects for sequences, which would be the Valhalla delay. I saved this patch for the default patch in Bitwig, so I have a dotted 8th note like this. And then, of course, we need reverb after that, and there are, of course, a million different options. Recently, I like these new algorithms added in the last update. Now some lights went off. It's fine. I think the synth hall, where is it? Here. That's not too bad. Yeah, this is good. I already notice that this sound is getting a bit too bright at some points. So I decrease the amount of modulation here to have it really smooth. That's nice. Also, of course, we need to change the envelope of the VCA to have more of a plucky thing going on. Quite nice. And then I also want to have the panorama thing again. So let's take sample and hold generator 1 and assign it to the voice panorama, which should be here. So with each note being triggered, the sound is getting distributed to the right and to the left. Yeah, I will just record a few sequences and see if I have something that I like. Yeah, that sounds not so cool because, no, sorry. Maybe I should save this. What's going on here? There's something with the quantize settings. Why does it also quantize the end? It should only quantize the beginning. What's going on here? If somebody knows how I can make it not quantize the length, now would be the time. Okay, let me play something again. It's not quantizing the length. Okay, I was just mistaken for a second. Yeah, let's take this for a starting point. What I'm now doing is I take the engine 1 and copy it to engine 2. And here I increase the pitch by 1 octave. Let me solo this. But I only want a few notes to be played. It should not be open all the time. I ran out of random generators. So I take the LFO1. Let's see if this works. Yeah, that works. What I just did, I put this one here to sample and hold, which is not really represented by this waveform. Don't know. Arturia, what's going on here? What's going on here, Arturia? Why is that going quite well with the other waveforms and not with the sample and hold? I don't know. I mean, version 5 was free, so I'm not complaining, but maybe you can make this look nicer. Also, I want volume of wavetable 1 also to be densed out a little bit. Yeah, that's good, I think. Some overdrive going. Oh, this is too much. Ah, okay, this is always... I want this unipolar. That's so nice. You can switch this from unipolar to bipolar, because I want only an increment of the value that I set here. Yeah, just a few notes here from engine 2. And some modulation here on the idea so far was to have a lot of space in between the sounds. When I make my music, especially ambient music, I usually don't have a lot of sounds in the tracks. I don't have arrangements with 10 different tracks and 10 different synthesizer sounds. It's usually just a few elements in a track. And you see that all these sounds have some activity and then some rest. And if you have all of them playing at the same time, they overlap in a nice way. At least I hope so. But it's not like having sounds playing constantly for all the time. It would even be possible for the sequence to thin it out a little bit, and to mute some of these, so that there is less activity. And then with these kind of large pauses in between, it would be nice to add another delay, but this time with the fourth note. So that the sound from the first block carries over to the next block. Do you know what I mean? So this is the first block of notes. And then the delay carries the sound over to the next block of sounds. See? let me experiment on something here. Yeah. I think that could work. I will now send the engines into both filters, which are going in parallel mode, not serial. And we have still one random generator left, triggered of course by the nodes. Why is it so fast? And I apply this to this bandpass filter that I just created. So with each new node we have a different position of the filter. Which gives us another layer of interesting overtones. Someone in the chat asked, what do you do to make ambient music not so repetitive? By doing stuff like that, by having a lot of things going on within a sound, so that you can listen to that kind of 6 or 8 note sequence for a long time and it still stays interesting. Because with each note something new is happening. To just wind it back, I have the modulation going on with the frequency modulation. I have the modulation going on with the wave holding. I have the modulation going on with this filter here. Yeah, let's listen to everything in the context. Let's take a look at your questions. Do you always work in terms of a fixed number bars, or do you sometimes have varied bar sizes? Well, it really depends on what kind of music I try to do. When I know that I will do something that turns out to be rhythmic, I try to have a fixed pattern of maybe 4 bars or 8 bars or something. Yeah, these pauses are really nice in between all that sounds. Andy wants to know, do you run your sounds through a preamp? No. I mean, my hardware stuff is going into the audio interfaces directly without mixer or preamp or whatever. And the software synthesizers, you see what I'm doing. I have the synthesizer and from there it goes into the effects, but there's no preamp or something. Field recordings. Interesting topic. I don't really have a good recorder to go outside and record stuff. I'm using a lot of field recordings from Luftroom. He has a huge sound pack of free to download field recordings, which you should check out. Also, a few library stuff as well. Yeah. My first analog synthesizer. Well, do I remember that? Do I remember my first analog synthesizer? Do you mean like analog or just hardware synthesizer? Because my first hardware synthesizer was I think the first real synthesizer was the Micro-Q, the Waldorf Micro-Q. And I think the first real analog synthesizer was probably, I think, the Waldorf Pulse. the old one, the rack mount version. Yeah. And I think the first one with knobs was the Moog Little Fatty. So then I want to see the EQ with the sequences. Yeah. Ah, you mean that one? Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look. Is that the sequences? Yeah. That's the sequences going on. Yeah, the first hardware synthesizer I think was the Micro Q back in the days, I think. Then I got the Virus A, which I really loved, and I just traded it in for the Virus TI, which I still have. That was my first hardware synthesizer. And then I had the Korg Triton. I recorded tons of music with it back in the days, but it was so broken and completely falling into pieces that I sold it for cheap money at some point. That was my also synthesizer that I used quite a lot. Yeah. Dirk wants to know, did you think about sending sounds through a speaker and then record them to get some air? No. I mean, the idea is good, but you would need high-end recording equipment to achieve something good out of that, I think. I'm really happy that I have everything in the box and have the effects here and don't have to use any amplification or microphones. All right. I think I could go for another sequencer sound. And since we have so much fun with Pigments right now, I will take another instance of Pigments. By the way, I bought the Yuhi stuff and also the Arturia stuff of my own money, so if you're wondering why I'm so enthusiastic about these synthesizers, just because I like to use them, but I don't get any commission or whatever, so it's just my low cuts. Philip wants to know, last question before I go to the next sound, what do you think of low cuts? Well, I read an interesting post of a techno artist. Not sure if you're listening. Hello, Tangram. He basically said that people should stop using low cuts all the time on everything, because bass frequencies kind of add to the groove of a track. So even if you have, like, for example, a hi-hat sound or a higher pitched sequencer sound, and you leave the bass frequencies, the subharmonics in that sound, then they will all add to the groove of that track. And I find that is quite an interesting idea to say. So yes, I use low cuts, but I also take a look at what's actually there. And if I see this waveform here, there's not really much going on in the sub-bass frequency, so I don't need a low cut here. Yeah, but this is a complicated topic. I don't want to do like a whole mixing lecture tonight, so I will just leave it here. So let's stop this for a while. I want to have another sequencer sound, and this might be a sound that should sound a bit more like classic analog, because we have like all of these interesting wavetable FM sounds, whatever. So let's switch to the analog engine, which gives us 3 oscillators. Kind of reminds me of the classic Mini Moog, but why not? So what I do here with the classics is have a sawtooth and have a square wave, and have the square wave one octave lower than the sawtooth. And then, of course, you need to find the right balance here. And there's already some some detuning going on. They call it drift, because usually it should not be too much. But I also want to have some movement within the sound. So if it's too static, it's not cool. So I work a little bit with the also have this monophonic. Yeah, that's already quite good. Then let's add some movement to the filter by picking the second envelope and dragging it to our filter. Ah, we are on F. I should play on F, not on C. Yeah, that's nice. But of course, you know me, I want randomization for everything. So I take the sidechain thing and select random 1. And it's already set to 50%. So when I go for this, it should technically, yeah. So what happens here is that the output of the random generator 1 controls how much envelope 2 is allowed to affect our filter. Okay, again, envelope 2 is modulating our filter. And the random generator determines with each note that is being played by me or by the sequencer how much this modulation actually happens. And at this point, I already apply some effects because this sequence is not going to sound good without something like this. Which preset do I take? Let's go for maybe for the standard stuff. What is our tempo? Yeah, you noticed that I quickly changed the octave range of that sound, because I noticed that in this lower range the sound is nice by its own, on its own, but it kind of overlaps badly with the bass. So if we take a look here at our equalizer or analyzer, we see that the bass sound takes place in that area. So the sequence sound should take place in a higher range. So here the root note is somewhere here. This is the root note, the fundamental. That was my term. And here in the bass sound, the fundamental is here. We also have some business going on here, but it's always important to have a look at where the fundamentals are so that they don't overlap. So with that higher range, I made the envelope of the filter a bit snappier. Which means shorter decay. Let's take away the randomization here and instead randomize the cutoff frequency. Which one was it? Random 2, random 1. Yeah, I think it's about time to decide on a sequence. Yeah, see what I did here? It is a 6-note sequence. And 6 is kind of against 4. I've used like this 4, it's a 4/4 measure, right? And we have like 4 measures and 4 beats all the time. And here it kind of goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But because it goes against this 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have a kind of a permutation, because if you have like 4 against 3, where's the camera? If you have like 4 against 3, they overlap in a different way all the time. Okay, now that I set the sequence, I want to make the sound more interesting. First, I want to close the filter. Maybe smooth this out a little bit here with, what is that? Random 1. We have some clicky stuff going on here. Not sure if I want that. No, that's too brassy. Go away. These envelopes here in Pigments can go very fast. Yeah, that's nice. Also, I want to play on the panorama. I always play with the panorama, with the random generator 2. And we can also play with the volume a little bit, maybe with the random generator 3, so that the sound is not no. Another idea. Let's use a second filter, and this time a bandpass filter. Now they are in serial mode, so the oscillators go into filter 1 and from there into filter 2. But I want them to run into both filters at the same time. first thing I need to do to achieve this is set the filter routing from this guy here to that guy. This is parallel, this is serial. Also, I need to tell engine 1 to go into both filters, and I need to tell engine 2. We only have engine 1. Yeah. So now the filter goes into both. The oscillators go into both filters. And now we take random generator 3 and put it into on the filter frequency of the second filter. Also, I want our filter envelope, which at the moment only affects filter 1, also to affect filter 2. So I'm picking envelope 2 and drag it over here. Well, this is too fast. We have a lot of filters, envelopes here, so I can take envelope 3. Yeah, that's nice. Because now you really hear this meow, 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 meow coming down all the time, which is quite cool, I think. So we have filter 1 with the low pass filter, and then we have filter 2 with this funky bandpass stuff. This is good. Let's see how it sounds with all the rest of the sounds. Let me check the levels for you. Again, this is just for YouTube. Usually we don't do compression on the master bus. Oh, we are quite low on the volume. Sorry for that. Yeah, I think this is okay. Vasily, thank you for your donation. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I forgot to look at the chat for quite a while. So if you have any questions about what I just did recently, it would be a good time to ask. The Matchfields asks, so if you use enough envelopes, the sound develops better. Is it that? Well, to a degree, yes, but of course you should not overdo it. You see that most of the modulations that I do are only on a limited kind of range. So I don't do these modulations with like the whole range of a filter or the whole range of a parameter. But if you add a lot of little modulations to a sound, then it can be interesting. But it's really about finding the right balance. If you have a sound, a piece of music with like 5 sounds and they all go like pling pong pang all the time, and it's just falling apart, then it doesn't sound good. So you need to think of a fixed center, like a foundation of a piece of music, and from there you can have some modulation and variation. But if it's too much, it kind of falls off the edges and sounds too hectic, or yeah, it's stressful to listen to. So it's about finding the right balance, I think. It's a little hard to hear the music over your voice. Oh, well, I can increase the volume of this a bit. So now we should have a higher volume of the music compared to my voice. I hope it's better now. Last question before I go to the next thing. Do you prefer to use the modulation? Pat, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's British pounds. You can actually buy something from that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that coming from you. Thank you. There's a question, do you prefer to use the modulation within the VST or through Bitwig? Well, if the VST offers me modulation, I use the modulation in the synthesizer. But what I completely missed and skipped in this one is to use the modulators of Bitwig. It's especially interesting when you use hardware synthesizers that don't have so much LFOs or envelopes. That should be, yeah. What? I don't get it. Is there something wrong with the loudness? Okay. So I want to try and do a little arranging thing here. And for music like that, I try to do it live on the fly. So what I need to do now is have some controls for my sequencer sound. I think these first three sounds will just play as they are, but I want to control the sound and the shape of the sound of that last sequence that I did. So let me open the Pigments, maybe make it a little bit smaller so that you can see what I'm doing here. I want to control the filter balance. So now I have only filter 1, and I'm doing all this with the MIDI fighter here. Now I just have filter 1, filter 2. So I can dial this in. Then I want to control both filters. So I could start really, really low. And then open this. And later also I want to be able to control filter 2. Then I think it should be nice to be able to control the envelope of the volume. Which, but how? Maybe just the sustain. I pick both decay and sustain. Maybe labeling everything would make it much easier to follow later. This is filter mix. Yeah, I think this is good for the beginning. This is good. Okay, so I will start like a live. Thank you very much, Chance Happening, for your donation. Thanks for reminding me that I missed a question. You are being asked if you want to create music together with Jerome Fröse. Well, he should ask me. I don't think that I can decide on that. Technically, I really enjoy working alone. That sounds a little bit stupid, maybe, but yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, collaborations are people. I need to talk to them directly. It makes no sense to talk about collaborations when the person is not approaching me for doing a collaboration. Is Martin now mapping a hardware controller to the software parameters? Well, the mapping of this one, can you see it? I'm not sure. Is it in the camera? This one. This mapping is always done automatically, so there's no kind of hard wiring of parameters, because this is a dynamic script which dynamically changes when I move from one plugin to the other. But what I just did was I took the parameters out of Pigments, which I want to control, and put them into that kind of macro. So because there you see there are millions of parameters, and I want to have these specific parameters on my controller. That is the thing. I go back to the questions later. I just want to record the music. I switch this one on. It says writing the automation stuff, and when I hit record, it should start to record. Yeah, it does. Fantastic. And all the movements that I make on my controller are now being recorded by Bitwig, so that I can change them later or whatever. I think this is a good starting point for the track to go with that pad sound. And now the first question is, do I go with the low bass sound next, or do I bring in the sequence? I think I go for the sequence. And I will not fade it in, but instead just have it playing on the next bar. I'm pretty sure that I will add another pad sound later, but for the first structure, whatever draft of that track, I think it's fine to go with what we have. And now after 1.5 minutes, it should be a nice idea to add this bass sound. I want more reverb on that, I hear that. But I don't change it now because then it will just ruin the automation, but I keep it in mind that I want to have more reverb on the bass. And now I prepare my next sequencer sound by making sure that the filter mix is to filter 1, and the cutoff frequency is quite closed. And now I will start this sequence and have it sneaking in slowly. I bring in the second filter. Now I realize that I don't like it. But I don't know why. Let me first delete everything I just did. Is the modulation stuff still? It's so stupid. Why can't you? Oh, no, I did something very stupid. That's why I always save something before I record it. Wait. I hope I don't do something insanely stupid, but I need to reload this. Yeah. I don't like this, the sequencer sound. It's too snappy or too... I want to change that sound quite a bit. And I think what I need to do is take away this very fast envelope here. And do it more like this, have it a bit smoother. And then this modulation here is also too big. Let's stick to filter 1 for the time. Yeah, I think this sounds better. And then I rather have a very slow movement in the filter. Yeah, this is nice. I think this is good. Maybe what I'm doing here with my left hand now is moving the cutoff filter could also be done with an LFO. Of course, that LFO would be set to free running so that it doesn't reset with each note. Much slower, very, 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 very slow. And then go for filter 1. Ah, that was stupid. I'm taking the wrong filter. Filter LFO2, of course. Yeah, I'm having it in a rather fast pace to check for the range. And then I go down with the rate to have a real slow movement here. Maybe still reduce the randomization. Yeah, this is good. Let's listen to filter 2 again. What is filter 2 doing here? maybe we can also have a very slow modulation. Don't take the same LFO for that. If you take one LFO and modulate 2 filters, it will sound boring or like a Scheibenwischer. Instead, the first one was 0.032 Hertz, so let's take this to maybe 0.44 and apply it to filter frequency 2. And then both filters together. And again, keep in mind they're in parallel mode. So the signal from the oscillators are running into both filters. They're not serial. We could also play with the panorama and have the low pass filter on the left and the band pass on the right. That would also be nice. Yeah, let's listen to it in context. Much better. I want to have more of the higher frequencies on that sound. So I should maybe open both filters a little bit. This is really nice because now this sequencer sound is now sitting on top of the other ones. We already have that bass layer, we have the pad sound, and this little FM plingy plongy sequence. And now this one goes on top. That's good. I like that. And the good thing is I don't have to do anything. I don't have to tweak the filters all the time. I can just leave it here as it is. Maybe sometimes we can... Oh, this is nice. This is nice. This is nice. With sustain fully open, this is more of like a constant sound. Let me solo it. This is like a constant volume. And when I bring down the sustain, you have more like this rhythmical stuff. And if you followed me up until this point, you know what I'm doing now. I'm taking an LFO, free running, very slow, and this goes to my decay. No, to the sustain, sorry. So it goes from completely zero to fully open. I hope you can see that tiny red dot going on. I'm not sure what YouTube compression does for this. So now sustain is fully open. Now the second filter comes again. This is fantastic. That's a really good sound. Let's save this. Wow, very nice. I hope you forgive me for being so enthusiastic about this sound, but I didn't like it before, and so yeah, that's good. Alrighty, let's go back to the situation where I tried to make a little arrangement of this one. I still want to bring this in and out. Maybe we can be lazy. Let me think for a second. Cutoff frequency 1 could also be smoothed out with this macro knob. Same with filter 2. Let's see if that makes sense. I'm trying to program something that I can fade in and out that sound with one knob. So that would be silent. And then I can slowly bring this in. Yeah, that's good. Don't need to be so drastic. I still want to hear it a little bit. Yeah, it's a bit hard to hit the right values here with the macro because we already have an LFO modulating both filters. Yeah, this is good. So let's take this one here. So, what do I call it? Fade. So now with this knob here on my desk, right in front of me, I can bring this in and out, which is cool. Also the sustain, I think for the start of that sound, sustain should also be at 0. Okay, so let's start here. Everything needs to go off. Let's save again and start another recording session. I switched this on, automation right, so that, no, that one, sorry. So that everything I do here on the MIDI fighter is being recorded. What I also like about Bitwig is that you can enable the time markers. Isn't that something? The time markers on the top bar. I mean, my Atari computer could do it 100 years ago. And Ableton can't. Which, yeah, no comment on that. I really like that. So that I have a better sense of time here. Also my T is empty, which is a huge problem. Okay, where is the next bar? 2, 3, 4. Now the second sequence is coming in. Oh, thank you for reminding me for the bass reverb. Best. Thank you, Redwalks. Thank you very much. I'm going to add right after this is finished. My mind was just too fast processing everything else that I also wanted to change that I forgot about the bass. The reverb on the bass, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, with the MIDI fighter, it's really nice that you can browse between the tracks like this, and also browse between the plugins, and you can even open and close the plugins. That is something I really like about this controller and Bitwig. All right. So the sequencer sound is about to start soon. 1, 2, 3, 4. fading it in very slowly. This is pigments, right? What I'm just doing here. You see that the macro 1 on the bottom right corner is affecting 2 of my filters. Now we have a million options to do something in this arrangement, because all the sounds are now here, and so we should either add a new one or mute something. I think I will mute the bass for a while. Or do I? Let's see what happens if I do. So I could think of this as something like a break or something. So after this break I will mute sequence 1 and get back to the bass. Well, this would usually be the point where I definitely stop working on this track and do something else and get back to it in a few hours or tomorrow or whatever. We have a lot of options for progress here. We can have another pad sound, maybe some kind of lead sound, a high lead pad or something that plays something. Or not. It could also be left like this. It's also possible. How do I decide if I add something or not? Usually I'm trying to have as little a little number of sounds in the track to not make it overcomplicated. And also most music that I like to listen to is rather simple in its structure. So it could also be possible that I like this as it is and don't add another sound. Yeah, but I would think of this at another time, maybe tomorrow or whenever I feel like going back to this, because after 2 hours, I think, yeah, it's almost 10. After 2 hours, you can't really do anything useful anymore, because your ears are so. I mean, they got used to the sounds that you have been making, and so you need a rest or some other input before you can go back to this. And maybe tomorrow I will say, well, this is beautiful, I just leave it like this. Maybe I will go like, oh, this is rubbish, the sounds are cool, but I want a complete different arrangement. Maybe I add 2 more sounds and throw out another sound of that. I'm not sure. So there are like a lot of options, but this is, I think, a good starting point for me to do something. Also, I've been working with some sound design on another project recently. I would maybe listen to these sounds. This is another FM sound. What do we have here? I think this is yeah, that's also nice. That's also this one is modulating the resonance of the filter of this one here. Yeah, but this is maybe for another track. So what I wanted to say is, maybe if I want to have some more sounds, I look into other arrangements where I just started to make some sounds without an arrangement, something like that. Thank you. I'm Phoenix Blue for your donation. Also British pounds. I think you can also literally buy something from that. Thank you very much for your support. I would really like to wrap it up now, because you want to watch Super Bowl, and after 2 hours and my tea is empty, I would maybe also have a little break. Also, Neptune is sleeping over here. He didn't make much of a show today. Yeah, he didn't make much of a show today, but yeah, he was still there. So let me have a look at the chat, maybe, to see if there is something I should talk about before I close the stream for today. Hi, Chris. Nice to meet you. I hope you don't mind me copying your layout with the round camera up here. But I found it really nice, and I thought I also want to have a round camera. So we have a round camera today. Maybe I will leave it like this. So the reverb! I forgot about the reverb. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Let's go back to the reverb. Sorry. That needs to be taken care of. So this was the bass, and I promised to increase the reverb amount a little bit here. Maybe also the decay. Yeah, this is, I think, better. Let's listen to the context. Yeah, I think this is good. Safe. Safe, safe, safe. Where is the chat? Yeah. Yeah, Holger asked about a change of key and drums. Not in this track, not in this type of music. We can have a lot of music with a lot of chord changes and drums, but the idea of this music is kind of floating in space and not having it nailed down with drums. I mean, I think that the last or the second last production stream was with drums. I think Ambient Night 13 or so. There I created a track where I also used a lot of drums and key changes, but not in this type of music. Thank you. You're very welcome, all. I hope you do these educational instructive streams more often. Yeah, why not? I mean, like I said, I'm very happy to have these new 2 cameras here, over there and over here. And it's very convenient for me. I can just press one button and everything is set up. So I actually recorded 2 production walkthroughs. And what is happening now? Why are there balloons? What the hell was that? Did you see the balloons? Why in God's name are there balloons? Could please someone explain why there are balloons? I'm shocked. I have to know how I can switch that off. Where in OBS, it must be OBS, right? Where in OBS can I switch that off? What the hell? Please tell me where I can switch off this stuff. Or is it YouTube? Am I hallucinating or have there been balloons? Please tell me. I'm really a bit scared. You raised one finger and then it get balloons. You're kidding. No, it's not the finger. It must be something else. When you do 2 air quotes, you're making fun of me. I want a true explanation why there are balloons. Where was I? That's a Mac feature. Really? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I hate software updates. I really do. The last Mac OS killed my screen setup. Now my Mac only boots to my second screen and I need to switch on and off the first screen after the booting process in order to have it running. And I swear to God, I didn't change anything. I just installed the macOS update. It's stupid. I hate updates. Absolutely. Yeah, I completely lost where I was. I just want to say, now I know it. So I recorded 2 videos in which I explained some sound design stuff. One sound design tutorial for the virus. And then I also made another ambient production session like this one, just to test if the setup works. So there is no interaction, of course, because it's a recorded video, but I hope I will upload it soon. So thank you very much as well for your donation. You're very generous today. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. I'm shutting it down now. So this will be online if you want to rewatch later. Martin will now throw away his Mac. Yeah, you wish I will throw it away. Probably right away. No. Yeah, I will. Yeah. Okay. Good. So I'm not making sense anymore. Thanks very much for tuning in tonight. Have a good night. See you soon, and thank you for watching and your support. Bye-bye.